Yeah, so Charlie Heck is going to be the guy starting at left tackle, but I think it begs a bigger question about what about the overall depth of the
Mhm.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Because now you have to consider, well, what happens if something goes wrong with Luke Goedeke? And something did go wrong with Luke Goedeke in week 1 of last season. He had concussion and missed a little bit of time. Remember, it was Justin School that started in week 2 against Detroit, and Aiden Hutchinson had all of those sacks, but the Bucs won the game, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. So now you have to figure out, well, what is your depth looking like at tackle now with, let's just say, Tristan Wirfs out of the picture and he's not coming back relatively anytime soon. Because you got Silas Dancy in there, as you mentioned, Ben Chukwuma, a guy that is certainly an intriguing prospect, but I also don't think is going to be ready. For the regular season. I don't think Lorenz Metz is that answer either, and he's just way too slow as well. No disrespect to him. Raekwon O'Neal, again, is a guy that has been here. He's been in Seattle. Bucs fans have mentioned Donovan Smith before, and I'm not saying they should go after Donovan Smith, but he didn't play last season. He was the tackle of the Chiefs the year before, won his second Super Bowl in his career, his first with Kansas City. Of course, he won with the Bucs. I would entertain this for the thought process of he's not, again, you have Charlie Heck starting at left tackle. So we're talking about depth and someone that you can kind of plug and play if something happens to Luke Goedeke.
Yeah.
Donovan Smith is coming off of a year where he wasn't playing football. So he's going to be motivated. I think the adrenaline's going to be pumping. And he lives in Tampa. He's familiar with not the whole team. I mean, I don't believe he was here when Baker Mayfield got here. The only teammates he would really have is, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, really anyone from like the Super Bowl team.
The OGs, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't really work with a ton of the guys on the offensive line right now. But Donovan Smith played some of his best football when the Bucs won the Super Bowl in 2020, when they won 13 games in 2021. If they needed a guy to come in for like 2 or 3 games, it's a dude that's familiar with the area, familiar with the organization, even familiar with Todd Bowles. I don't think it's a bad idea if he has to start a game or two. I would have my eye on. And he's played left tackle. He's played right tackle. He started. He's come off the bench as well. And this is an offensive tackle. His name is George Fant.
Yes. Yep. I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah, he's been around the league for a little while now. He was actually an undrafted free agent out of Western Kentucky, went to the Seattle Seahawks in 2016. He played for the Seahawks until 2019. Was on the Jets for 3 years. And his time with the Jets was very interesting because he started at right tackle. Then there was an injury to Mekhi Becton, who they had drafted to play left tackle. They moved him to left tackle. The next year, he was the starting right tackle. More injuries happened to the offensive line. They moved him to left tackle. And the third year, he played left tackle as well. So this is a guy that has moved around, played different positions. Last year, he went back to Seattle, only played in 2 games, but his overall grades were not horrendous. They weren't great, but they weren't horrendous. He got a 65.8 grade in week 1 when he played. It was Seattle against Denver. His next game wasn't until week 9 against the Rams. It was a 56.7 grade overall, but a 63.4 run blocking grade. So to me, if I'm Jason Light, I'm looking at George Fant saying, this is a guy that has played everywhere. He's been on the left side. He's been on the right side. And you don't have to start him unless something happens to Luke Goedeke or if Charlie Heck doesn't work out as a left tackle. And it's not for the entirety of the season. I think it immediately boosts what Tampa Bay has for depth reasons and depth purposes at offensive tackle specifically, because I like Elijah Klein. I respect that he went out and played offensive tackle after playing guard in all of training camp and the summer and everything like that, but did it in that preseason game against the Jaguars. But I still think, unless it's an emergency, he's slotted for the interior, maybe even backup center or something like that, than he is at offensive tackle. So I think George Fant would be a great, great backup addition that is difficult to find in the summer with 2 and 3 weeks to go before training camp. If you want to secure more depth, I think George Fant is the way to go.
I think he is too. And I was kind of looking at some free agent offensive tackles, and he was the one that jumped out at me too, because he's played over 100 games, 75 starts. As you mentioned, he started for different teams, and he wasn't bad last year. He was serviceable. And I think that's what the Bucs need the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, if Wirfs is out that whole time, is somebody that's serviceable that can hold down the fort. And I think that Bucs fans should not be as frustrated as some of them are out there about the medical staff and kind of looking at things like, why now? Because the Bucs can weather this storm just based on having Kevin Carberry and Brian Picucci, who have developed so many offensive linemen. They can take somebody for a few weeks and make them look okay. They did that with Justin School. And last year, he was a pretty solid guy. I think he had like a 60 PFF grade. After the Lions game, that wasn't completely his fault. He actually did pretty good. And I think that'll be the same thing. Maybe Charlie Heck has a bad first game, but he kind of comes into his own during that stretch when they need him.